Well, Kevin, we're back here the 4th of May in winter wheat again. The most advanced of it, the Bennington that we looked at the last day, has just got its T1, 2 litres of Trioris, a litre of Arian and 0.3 of Modus we went with. We left out to Psychosel. Not all your wheat is that advanced. Do you want to take us back to the decision to persist with planting last autumn? How you feel about it now and the condition of other fields of wheat?
Sure. I mean, as everyone knows, at the end of last harvest there was still the beans to cut, and with the broken weather it meant that when we were harvesting beans we should have been planting. So eventually we got the beans done, we moved into planting wheat. I'm very happy that we backed wheat to this day. It has really thrived over the winter, and even this field behind us here, like at Christmas it didn't look special, but right now it's transforming. 99% of it looks very good. That's not even the best of it, but that looks quite good. But if we look down now, we can see the very worst of it. Just as a farmer, I know it doesn't have the same potential as this now. It's clearly obvious, because when we look out here, we can see lots of green leaf. When we look down here, we can see a lot of topsoil and not too many plants. So I suppose, John, the question I was kind of thinking was, I can't leave it there on its own, but I don't want to give it the robust fungicide program that will be given to the good crop. So what would be your advice on what to hit this with?
In essence, we kind of have 3 crops of wheat to be treating, and that's leaving aside any varietal issue. The more advanced stuff that we've already treated, everything got K too early to try and plant it on and thicken it up. The more advanced stuff you've done, which is strong 32. Then you have the likes of this field, the Diego, which is not ready for T1, but because septoria pressure is building, we've given that a litre of Psychosel, 0.2 of Modus, and a litre of Bravo as a T0. That'll get the same T1 in terms of fungicide as the advanced wheat, but we may not give it any regulator the next time round. We'll see how it progresses. Everything has got uplift again because of the stresses, and as you've seen yourself, we've seen blotches on some of the leaves here and there. It hasn't been good growing conditions at all. This is a distinctly different crop on those bad patches of the headlands, and you're right, it doesn't make economic sense to throw a big heavy T1 at those, not in my opinion anyway. We may give it another little bit of Modus later on, we'll decide in a fortnight, but it'll get a T0 of Bravo, but it will not get the heavy T1. We're not going to spend the money. On those areas, we're going to treat it with possibly 10 days after the T0, 1 more litre of Bravo. There is a risk in it. It's not covering things like mildew, it's not covering yellow rust. Septoria pressure will be there, but it will be less because the crop is more open because it's thin. So we're trying to balance still getting the best out of the crop, but having an economic conscience about how much we spend.
Sure.
So that will be the approach.
John, just as we look out across that crop of wheat there, it's got real potential. There's fire underneath that crop now, and it's up on 120 units of N, and it's really taking it in with that heat that's here today. Is your thinking much the same around rates for T2 with the Edexer?
It would be. T2 is critical to getting your yield in wheat by keeping disease control going. Last year it was a Dexar, and what I would have been happy with there is it was based on epoxy, which I'd still have a lot of faith in as the triazole component. We added Bravo to it, as you know. What we'll be doing again this year, focusing on cost, it's not all about Trioris, it just happens to be one of the products we sell, but we'll compare a number of options. We may go a Dexar, we could even go something like a Lattice. Depending on cost, we may revert back to Trioris with Opus Team, which is another very good value product, and the chlorothalonil in the Trioris hasn't gone up in price this year, which is good. But you're absolutely right, there's potential here to make money, so I don't see us reducing any rates. The only thing that might happen, if we're really unlucky and rain stays coming, you may yet have an application between T1 and T2 that might just be a litre of chlorothalonil, but just as another safety measure. I won't say yet we'll do it, we'll watch the weather, but we won't be lifting our foot off the gas for the T2. This headland is different because, as we've discussed, it doesn't have the same potential. We might be really courageous and just continue with a 3rd application of Bravo. My gut is telling me we'll probably go with the normal T2 on it, but we'll make that judgment closer to the time.